All right, we are here today with a very special guest who drove all the way from Atlanta. We're so happy to have her here. This is awesome. We've been having a blast already, and if you stick around, there's going to be some fun, I think, in this car. And then I think you're going to scare the shit out of me in that car. So you're going to want to stick around, but first we want to tell her story. So here we go. Okay, first of all, thank you for being here. My cheeks hurt. We've been having a lot of fun, so this is awesome. If you notice, we have some tribute to America in the background and cowboy hats. Today, I thought it would be really interesting to have Sarah here. Sensei, you know her as that, and we're gonna show you right here and here and here. I don't know, Miller's looking at me funny.
Put it right there.
Right
Sensei.
there? There, okay. Perfect. So we're gonna tell her story because I'm sure you're all interested. You just give us a little background on yourself, what you're doing now, and then we'll kind of get to just the backstory.
Okay, so I am a promotional model, influencer, whatever you prefer to call it. I travel around the country pretty much February through November, December, for all types of events, drifting, drag racing, stance car shows, anything you can imagine.
And then you hibernate.
I do hibernate.
Like all of us car people,
I do
right?
hibernate. I'm really sad for a couple months, and by February, March, I'm like, let's go.
It is the
I'm ready
worst.
to do something.
That's when we show up at like 6 in the morning and it's 25 degrees outside.
For cars
it's
and
not
coffee.
Quite, yep, not quite warm enough. Yeah. So, and guys, true car girl. Like, you are really passionate about the cars. You are into them. So it's not just something, and let me back up. This is your full-time gig.
It is.
Like, this is what you do.
Gig.
So number one, I know a lot of you are aspiring to have an online presence and do this. This is right here a great example of someone who's been successful at that, number one. And number two, I want to hear how the heck you got into cars, because your parents were like point A to point B.
Oh yeah, so my parents raised me, cars get you from point A to point B, for sure, like you said. I have 3 older brothers, and if they were to get a flat tire, I would for sure have to change the tire for them. They're not into cars at all.
Do you have like a defining moment in your life where you were like, wow, that car drove by, or you sat in one? Or...
Ooh, I do. Going through a breakup, okay, in college. My best friend at the time, her boyfriend actually had like a Mustang car club. And
hey, it started with Shelby's.
It did. It started with American Muscle, 100%.
You were in the right garage.
All to Mustang. Yep,
That's
100%.
Awesome.
We would go park in the back of the Buffalo Wild Wings parking lot.
Cool.
And we would go in and eat, and we'd come out and drive around. And I remember sitting in the back of his Mustang and looking out the tiny little window and being like, that car is louder than this one. And that one has different colored wheels. And why did that one just lower to the ground? And just little things like that, that's like, I didn't even know that you could modify cars until that time. I literally thought how you bought a car was how you got it. That's how it was. If I saw a car out in the street and it was neon pink, they painted it neon pink
car,
from the
like my
factory.
4-year-old daughter, she's like, car pink.
Literally, I had no idea. And then I started piecing it together and was like, wow, you can like change the way they look and sound. And now I'm 2J swapping a 280ZX.
That's awesome.
So
wow. Going from like a periscope window in an old and a back of a Mustang to like, now you've got your own stuff.
I knew
going.
nothing.
It's
like
crazy.
Nothing. Yep.
I still know nothing, so you're at me. and okay, so one thing that's interesting before we go jump into the cars, tell us about what you did in college, because I remember when we met a while back, you told me about your background. I'm like, wow, this makes so much more sense of how you've built this for yourself.
Yep. So I have a degree in marketing and economics. It was actually really cool because when I was taking my core marketing classes was when I discovered the car world, the car industry, and I started growing my Instagram social media page, and it just went hand in hand with everything I was learning in class. I was like, back then it was use 30 hashtags,
Yep.
It's a little different now,
It's way
but
different.
it was use 30 hashtag, like posts from that hashtag. I would go through and like the 9 most recent posts and then the 9 top posts from every single hashtag. I mean, I would spend hours. I would post and I'd be on Instagram for like an hour, hour and a half to do that. But I was growing like overnight, like 10K, wake up 12K, wake up 15K, wake up like,
whoa.
I mean, it was like aggressive and like, I don't know, I just felt like I kind of got thrown into it and figured it out along the way.
But a lot of people think you can just post pictures of yourself in front of a car and you're going to get this massive following, right? Because that's exactly what you did.
Yeah, I mean, and it really is all about branding yourself. I mean, you branded yourself, I branded myself, we all brand ourselves, and we're kind of lucky we get to brand off of our personalities and who we are. And I don't know, it's all about being yourself, I feel like.
But I think what I was also trying to get at is it is a grind.
For sure.
Like massive grind. Like that's like I've had videos even recently go viral, tens of millions of views.
Right.
That doesn't necessarily translate to your organic growth. You're going to get some followers from that. The grind happens. It's not just shooting for the viral post like a lot of people think it is. They're like, oh my gosh, I just want to go viral so bad. But then you end up going viral and it's like not a big deal. It's like kind of exciting for what social media, growth of social media, what I've found is it's an organic connection with your audience.
100%.
It's being yourself and really getting these people to almost start to get to know you.
You're creating a relationship for sure.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. And we talked about this earlier.
Yeah.
And we'll get to that because some of it gets a little interesting out in public a little bit, right? But
especially for me.
Yeah. I have stories on this as well, which we could share. But
it's creating a connection. It's definitely a grind, like you said. Like I think I went to Hawaii this year. My friend got married a couple weeks ago, and it was the first time I have gone more than probably one day without doing something like business related. I mean, in like 4 years.
That's
like
crazy.
When I'm on vacation, when I'm doing anything, people are messaging me to hire for shows, to hire for shoots, to ask questions about merchandise, whatever it is. I mean, it's not like some, I don't know.
It's not like you're just posting and forgetting.
Right, and there's no hour. I mean, you're an entrepreneur, so you get it. There's no set hours. Sometimes, you start working at 8, but sometimes you also work until 11:30, 12, 12:30. I mean, whatever time until you need
Sometimes you wake up in the middle of the night and you're like, well, I can't go back to sleep.
Yeah,
I'm
and I have something I need to do. Yeah,
Yep.
Absolutely. There's no set hours, and I mean, you're familiar with that, so it's a nonstop thing.
All too familiar.
It's a nonstop thing for sure, especially with how social media is changing. You have to keep up and.
Well, and a lot of these bigger names like the Joe Rogans and stuff, and those guys got it dialed in and nailed. A lot of them are like, post and forget. Don't go in your comments, don't do all this stuff. But when you're growing like you are and like I am, you have to have that interaction. Like that is so valuable to keep creating those connections and those new relationships. And it almost gets to be overwhelming. Talk a little bit about like what it's like on your side with the plethora of messages you must receive. How do you, because you're posting, you're dealing with these companies, you're doing all these things, you're setting up events, you're going to them, but then you also have to have time to like respond to things. And tell us a little bit about that aspect of it. Or do you kind of set and forget a lot of that stuff still? Is it just too overwhelming?
I don't set and forget entirely. I mean, I have to be very connected because that's what makes this worth it and enjoyable for me. I love meeting my supporters. I love, hearing these stories. Oh, I've been following you since X, Y, and Z. I remember when you first got the Honda. I remember X, Y, like it makes it all worth it. I am extremely introverted, so sometimes I have to disappear.
Which is so funny.
And take a little break.
You do not come off like we've talked about this. We did a shoot that was out like 4 years ago together in the Purple Performante, and you were starting to talk to me about that stuff in the car. And that was actually one of the reasons I got really intrigued by you was here you are on social media, this presence. And then when we were offline, you're like, man, my social filter is like drained and this and that. I got to recharge, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm that way, And then we're on, in front of people. We're so outgoing.
Yeah.
And
I mean, I love it. It's hard to explain. Like, I feel like if you don't, I don't know. I get that all the time. No way you're introverted. No way you're shy. You do X, Y, and Z. And I'm like, I'm very shy, but that's what makes the genuine connection.
Yeah.
You know, like people can relate to that and they know that we're genuine.
Well, if you've ever played a sport, right?
Right.
You start the game off like,
Right.
oh man,
That's
we're gonna
fair.
go kick some butt. And then all of a sudden by the end of the game, you're wiped. And if it's a
Right.
really competitive match, you're like, all you wanna do is go home and sleep.
Or you play a tournament all weekend, you're gonna go home and sleep for a couple of days. For
That's
sure,
even
to
better
recover.
analogy.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
great. That's
Yeah.
awesome. I never thought about it like
Yeah,
that.
but then also even I start to feel that way just responding to messages too sometimes, because I usually block a time out to really go through, and even the requested messages, I try to get back to everyone. Sometimes it's now getting overwhelming, as I'm sure it's much more overwhelming for you. And I block that time out, and sometimes I get exhausted because sometimes it's
Right.
the same question over. You know,
Right.
you're trying to provide value, you're trying to give someone direction, and
And genuine response. You
Exactly.
don't want to be, LOL, thanks. Like,
yeah.
I don't know. Like, I appreciate them taking the time to reach out to me.
Nailed it.
So I want to give them the same attention in return, for sure.
And that genuinely, from what I can see from the outside, that's why you've built such a loyal and committed following. Like you were telling me that someone at a recent show drove 7 hours just for the opportunity to meet you. Like that's not normal, right? Right? And I was at a restaurant and like some guy was having a beer at the bar and waited until I was done eating and about to leave. And like, I just wanted to come in here and wait to say hi to you. And it's like, first of all, you're like, whoa. And the second, you're like, wow, you must
Don't do that again.
Don't do that to her. It's fine if you do it to me. Let's, this is
Please don't do that to me.
but it's really that genuine connection. And people, what I've found online these days is there's a lot of stuff that's so surface. There's so many people trying to be something they're not. And I think that worked online for a period of time. Kind of like you said, the 30 hashtags doesn't work anymore. I don't think the inauthentic, going on this trip, gotta film myself everywhere stuff really works like it used to. I think people are really seeking in this day and age an authentic connection.
I agree. I don't have anything to say on that. I disagree. I want something relatable. I mean, but don't we all? Like,
do.
I don't want to surround myself with people that I can't relate to or don't have things in common with, or, you know what I mean? We all want that.
We're relational creatures.
Yeah, we literally want to be in a group with
Yes.
other people that like-minded individuals.
Right. So now you've got this great presence, and like appreciate doing the collab today, and we've got some other stuff we're talking about going forward. Like where do you want all this to go? Tell us about, like, did you set goals? Did you set a plan? Do you just kind of flying by the seat of your pants? Like, talk to us a little bit about that.
So I've known from the very beginning that this was something that I wanted to do full time. As soon as my photos started picking up any type of traction online, I was like, I want to do this full time. I had a couple of girls that I really looked up to. They did it full time. And I made it happen, and I love that for me because, I don't know, it's a big deal to like set a goal and actually take the steps to accomplish it. It's a great feeling.
And you built it yourself.
100%,
Yeah.
yeah, for sure. So that was awesome. And then I sort of got to a point where I was like, okay, I want to learn even more about cars. Like I want to work on my own. I have the 280ZX. That's getting 2JZ swapped.
So cool.
And that was when I started tinkering into YouTube, which I haven't posted on in like
Slacker.
6 months. Life happens.
Yep.
Don't beat yourself up about it.
No.
But I was in the direction of wanting to push myself more into the YouTube realm because I love what I do. I for sure don't want to work for anybody else for the rest of my life. Love what I do, but I can be 99 and posting YouTube videos about cool stuff, but I cannot be 99 and modeling with cars.
That's right.
And so for now, that was sort of the direction that I wanted to go. I'd love to host my own events one day because I got a lot going on up
Very
here.
cool.
Some great
Yep.
ideas.
Yep.
I have a degree in marketing. I want to put that thing to use.
Yep.
But that's sort of the direction. I don't want to leave entirely. I love cars. I would love to continue to do things with cars. I love meeting people. I love traveling. There's so much that I love about it. I just need to sway a little bit. Because like I said, can't be 99. I mean, I guess I could be modeling with cars. 99 with my cane and my walker.
Maybe Elon Musk will come out with something that's like anti-aging forever.
Yeah,
That'd be
I don't
kinda
know.
cool. Live till we're 250.
Yeah, but
As long as everything works.
I love to continue doing YouTube and potentially host my own events one day.
So I'm going to challenge you with something because I love that you brought up being 99. First of all, that's a really awesome goal to make it that far, right? But something just for you to kick around, and you don't have to tell me now, but one thing that I've preached to Miller and a lot of them is creating yourself as a future. So what I did back when I was in my late 20s is somebody taught me, like, who are you going to be when you're 70 years old? Who are you going to be when you're 80 years old?
Right.
And I created myself as that person. And then when I figured out who I was at that age, I've now lived into it. So I created myself as a real estate investor that owned 1,000 multifamily apartment units. And I was going to be married. I was going to have 2 kids. I was going to have certain cars. I didn't think I'd be living in North Carolina, but like I wanted to have blah, 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 right? So I literally did a checklist of all these things of who I was going to be. And then what happened was immediately I started living, and I was broke at the time, as a 1,000-unit real estate investor owner. And I started changing my mindset and the things in my life that started guiding me in that direction. And my business partner, Mark's actually standing behind the camera. And we're like getting close to that already at 41. So what happens is when you like create yourself, immediately you just become that person and you live into it. So I'm not telling you have to tell us who you are.
Oh, I practice like manifestation, and that's like pretty much what you did. You said, this is what I want to be, and then I started taking the steps and acting like I was already that person. That's like what you do when you manifest.
And you've done that through the modeling stuff.
I have done that for some things. It's keeping up.
Which is incredible. It's incredible to see, even since I've known you, your growth, right?
Right.
Now the next step, and this is where I heard it. I heard it in your voice because I could tell, like, well, I have this plan, but like, we can manifest at different points in our life,
right,
and then we get there,
right,
and then we're lost again.
And then you have to do it again. That's the hard part. Oh my God. I feel like I'm in a therapy session.
But this
is not what I signed up for. Just kidding. I'm just kidding.
But I mean, this is why, and this is one of the other reasons why, kind of the undertone of everything I'm doing on this channel is obviously the car community, but also trying to help inspire and kind of help point the direction of everyone who's watching. Because they ask these questions to me constantly, like, how did you get there? What did you do? And these are just things I've learned that have really changed my life. So and we didn't plan any of this discussion, so this is just organic. But I just heard that coming out of your voice, is that kind of seeking for.
Oh, it's so crazy. Like, so is it over now?
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. No, that's awesome. I mean, I don't know. That's what people need though. They need like, it's like everyone that's successful acts like there is like some secret to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Maybe not everyone, but I feel like there are a lot of people that don't want to share tips and tricks, and they just want to be like, well, work hard or whatever. And it's like there is kind of a guideline that you can follow that can get you to where you want to be. It's about consistency and
nailed it.
And having like a clear vision on, and then the steps to. I mean, it like breaks it down. What is like in elementary school, and they would teach you how to write like a story, and they'd have like the burger, and it'd be like the top bun is the introduction, and then it's like a little guidebook, like the little steps. And then you have like the lettuce and tomato, and those are your 3 topics, and like then you have the bottom bun, and that's it. But it's like there's kind of some steps and some guidelines that if you genuinely follow them, it can get you there.
Well, and you're talking about successful people. You're one of them, and they're looking at you like that. So our paths in life, my path, Mark's path, Miller's path, your path, they're all different, but we've all done the same things.
Yeah.
Like I've seen Miller grow from where he was when I first met him at the car show. Now he's like hired an editor, and you're freshly engaged, and you like all these big life events are happening, but it's because we took the young grasshopper and we stuck him on like this track that's leading to where he wants to be. You know what I mean?
Much.
So it's just, they're dying in the background, by the way. But you've done it already, and that's why I wanted you to come here, because I wanted you to share, because so many people want to be influencers now, you know?
Yeah.
And but it's a real thing. You can do it.
Well, and I can also
It's just not easy.
I can also be a great example for the fact that I set a goal, I took the steps, I worked hard, I made it happen. I am literally living what was once my dream, and yet I still might be at a point again where it's time for me to set a new goal and make the new steps. And you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't have to be like a non-stop, like, uphill thing.
Totally.
Like, it's okay, I reached my goal, now I have to set a new goal and
you
go
know,
do it again.
there's people on here, my demographic is like 18 to 50, believe it or not. We're like and it's mostly
Right.
men, obviously, you know, it just happens to
Me
be.
too.
Yeah. Anyway. So it's funny because like even someone at 50, like they could be at a point where they're like, I am not happy doing what I'm doing, but it's still, again, it's not too late. If you think
Yeah.
about the way that I formatted it, where I said, think of yourself at 70, 75 years old, who are you? Think about how long a 50-year-old has to get to 75.
I mean, how old I am right now, literally, like that much of his.
Most people don't
his or her
have,
life
most
still.
people don't even, most people's careers last 20 to 25 years. They have a full career ahead of them when they're sitting back thinking their life is over. So think about that for a minute. That's just something that when I did this exercise for the first time, it really struck with me. I've got a personal trainer I've been working with for a little while, and we're working on it still, and I've helped him because he's around that age, and it was just such a mind-blowing epiphany for him to go, wait a minute, I don't have to be a millionaire next year. I don't have to build my platform by next year. If this is who I am way out here, then now it feels achievable. Whereas these short-term goals we set for ourselves, they overwhelm us, and then sometimes, like me, I'm the type of person, if I set too big of a goal short-term, I just shut down, and I just want to go do nothing.
You get discouraged.
Do you feel like that?
Yeah, sometimes, for sure.
How did you, tell us a little bit about the journey of setting those goals and how you kind of went about that, and then how you made these connections with these companies, and how, just not maybe full details, I negotiated this contract this way, but give us some of the stuff surrounding that.
I truly jumped in like with both feet. I was doing the posting twice a day. I was shooting with cars for free to get content, to get experience. You can't
Add value.
Yeah, you can't charge unless you know what you're doing. Going to all types of events, truck shows, car shows, I mean, whatever it was, to learn as much as I could. Like I said, I had people that I looked up to. I followed them. I watched what they were doing. Oh, these people seem like they're doing this. I don't like that, so I'm going to do it a little bit different, but I do like that, so I'm going to do that kind of similar. And then along the way, you kind of piece it together and it becomes your own little thing. I will say a cool thing that I did was I was working at a high-end paint reconditioning facility. There wasn't a lot to do throughout my day, and I spent my day researching event companies on Instagram, reaching out to them, essentially sending them a resume saying, hey, this is how long I've been doing this. This is the area I live in. How can I contribute? How can I get involved? I can offer X, Y, and Z. I can offer this type of promotion. I've done these other events. Treat it just as professional as you would any other job or career. I spent all of my free time in the day doing that. And it got to a point where I was booked enough on the weekends that I was having to miss a Friday and miss a Monday. This company and I had some discrepancies between ourselves, and I quit my job, and I had $2,000 to my name, and I moved in with my mom, and I took $1,000 of those dollars and I put it into merchandise and made a return, and then I just kept doing it over and over again, and I just kept traveling, and like I literally had to jump in. I mean, I was sharing a bed with my mom. I had to jump in with truly both feet, and I'm not saying everyone has to do that or that's always the right thing to do, but that's what I did because that's what I decided it was going to take to get me where I wanted to be. And
I couch surf for a while.
And it worked
out. I get it.
Yeah, I mean,
I feel it.
And look at you now.
I know. This
Man
is,
cave.
Man cave. I feel it. That's incredible. Like, and how many times were you told no, or were you ignored, or when you were in this search while you were sending, like?
One of my best friends, Sammy Kay, she lives in Charlotte, has a GT3. I reached out to shoot with her to get experience. And she said no. Now we're best friends. She said no. She wouldn't let her boyfriend take pictures of me, and she didn't want to shoot with me. She was like, I'm not interested. Now we're besties.
Is that so funny how that works?
The event company that I tour with the most, I found them vending at a show. They did like a Facebook poll, like, who do you want to model for us? And somebody typed my name in, and of course I was like, please go vote for that, like right now. I had a ton of votes, so they knew who I was, and I found them vending at a show just as a booth, and I was like, hey, who's the owner? Hi, my name's Sarah Senecal. I applied X, Y, and Z. You gotta put yourself out there. You gotta be confident in yourself and treat it like any other thing, just because it's not a handwritten perfect application for a corporate job or whatever. I mean, you treat it the same. It's your little baby that you're growing, you know.
I'm literally sitting against my car just listening because you were spitting so much fire right now. This is like really getting Mark's back there shaking his head. How do you think we did it? Same thing with our development company. And
that's what you always hear, even like watching Shark Tank and stuff. Like all of those guys, even if you don't like all of them, they all did very similar things from very humble beginnings. I mean, it truly is the grind.
The door is going to get slammed in your face. Sometimes the door just never opens. More times than not are you going to miss out on opportunities and fail and all this stuff before you start to get a little tiny bit of traction, right? Yeah. And then that turns into a little more. And then all of a sudden, over time, then it's like, whoa, where is this going?
Yeah.
Right?
That's how it felt. All of a sudden I was like, oh, I'm blowing in the breeze I've been waiting for. Like, here I am getting tossed into all the things that I said I wanted. Like, this was exactly what I wanted, and you just keep going. It's tough. You have to use the no's and the negative response and oh, you're just some girl looking for attention in the car scene. I mean, you have to use that all as motivation. It gets tough sometimes, for sure. I have had my plenty of, I'm literally just sitting on the floor crying because, you know, whatever, someone said I was ugly or, you know, whatever it is, like, but
I don't know how the next gen feels. Like, I'm a 41-year-old dude. I've been in the Army. I've built big businesses. Like, and I still look at the comments sometimes like, how can somebody... I was shooting in front of my GT40 telling a story the other day, and I talked about how I was on Crown Rally, and something happened, and I showed up late to lunch. And I got a comment like, have you looked at yourself in the mirror? You didn't need to stop for food. And I'm like, I'm a 41-year-old dude, like, what a dick.
Literally, what?
And I'm in like the least judgy side of the space, so I can't even imagine like how you had to toughen up with some of this stuff.
I have 3 older brothers.
Yeah, well, that's true. Okay, you got a head start, cheater. But yeah, I just appreciate what you're doing and keep doing it, and I'm looking forward to seeing like where this takes you.
Well, I appreciate you. I don't know how to say this as respectfully as I'm trying to, but
Wait, where is this going?
Cut this part out.
Miller, here, watch. You stand here.
But I appreciate you entering that. I mean, you've been into cars, or you know, whatever, for however long. I've at least known you since the Huracan. But like, I appreciate you being brave enough to step into this space too, like respectfully, like being older. Yeah. But you know, like, you're a husband, you're a dad, you have kids, like,
totally.
A lot of the people coming into the industry at this age are 16, 17, 18. And even at my age now, I'm kind of starting to feel like, should I leave? But then you have people like you that are coming in, and it's hard to come in at your age.
It's really hard.
I think because people are even more judgmental, and they do well, you're not so-and-so age anymore, you're blah, 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 leave the content creation or whatever to the so-and-so. Like, I've heard people say things like that. I'm not saying you're getting things like that, but I think that it's awesome that you're choosing to just enjoy what you enjoy doing and make connections and experience things and put out content regardless of maybe not fitting into the exact standard of a typical new content creator.
Well, thank you for that.
If that makes sense.
No, listen, everything you said is right on. And one of the, like, a lot of the comments I get is like, trust fund this. First of all, I'm 41. This has been built over 20 years of killing myself. So let's start there, you know? But what I thought was, first of all, I started this to have fun, like you said, because I'm just passionate about this. And I wanted to hang out with Miller. And then when Mark comes in town, I wanted him to come out. Like, wait till you see, and I know you guys aren't gonna see it, but wait till you see what we're gonna do tomorrow. Like, I'm having the time of my life. So this is fun for me, but I think one of the reasons why I wanted to jump in the space like I have and the niche it's going into is exactly the conversation we're having right now. I think there needs to be more positive exposure online and more authenticity. And listen, you can relate to this. This part of the country, we have a really special thing in the car scene, especially in Charlotte.
I agree. North Carolina is amazing for the, beats Atlanta for sure, which most people are surprised about, but North Carolina is.
Well, and a lot of the guys that I hang out with, that we hang out with, so authentic. And they drive really, like, look at Brian Mann with his $3.5 million Pagani. Super down to earth guy. Rags to riches story. I've had him on the channel. Go watch that video. And it's like, that is the stuff that I saw that was so special, where I was like, this needs to be talked about. These guys are perfect. And people that are doing stuff is perfect to help the next gen. There's so many people who are lost. They're getting lost in all the noise of the mainstream nonsense that they're losing focus on what is actually good in society. Right. And I wanted to try to, and I knew I was gonna get criticized and I knew I was gonna get hated on. It happens all day, every day.
You're trying to show the positives and the good. Nobody wants that.
Forbid,
oh my gosh.
God forbid I don't have an OnlyFans.
Yeah, happiness, throw that out the window.
Miller is all diving. Yeah, so, you know, and my dad always told me growing up, he's like, look, that guy's no better than that guy. He puts his pants on the same way that guy does
Everyone
every morning.
shops at Walmart.
One leg at a time. Yeah, exactly. So anyway, well, I've had a great time and we're not done yet. No, the interview's over. But the moment you've all been waiting for. And do you have anything else before we go have this next fun part?
I literally just came for the ride along.
So yeah, thank you for coming. We're gonna go through a ride along. If you noticed, we now have these on our heads. I don't know how many people picked up on it, but there was fun stuff going on in the background. And yeah, so I don't know. Do you want to introduce us to our ride along?
Ride along.
Perfect. All right, cool. Cut. Let's go.
I feel like I'm in a race car. I guess you're right. Okay.